Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and I have this super fun stenciled birthday shaker card using some new products from My Favorite Things July release. This month is their big 10-year anniversary release, and everything's pretty much birthday themed. Super fun release. I honestly didn't even know where to begin and finally decided I had to use this stencil because I think it is so much fun. So this is the Big Balloons stencil, and I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock that I cut down to 4¼ by 5½ inches. And then I'm using a whole bunch of Post-it tape. I have this huge roll of Post-it tape that I've had for years. So I'm using the Post-it tape to not only hold down the stencil, but to mask off the areas where I don't want ink. And then I started with a selection of distress inks, and by the time I'm done, I end up using a whole lot more. But I started with picked raspberry. My idea was to kind of go in a rainbow theme, because you guys know I love doing things in rainbow colors. They're so much fun, and the balloons in rainbow colors, how could I not? So I did my first balloon, and I'm just sponging onto the cardstock with my mini ink blending tools. And I pick up the ink and then I quickly rub off a bit of it first onto some scratch paper here, just so I don't get any harsh lines. And then I start sponging the color over the stencil, keeping the color more concentrated around the edges and just kind of letting it do its thing. On Bristol cardstock, these inks blend like a dream. It's so smooth. I've really sped up the rest of this sponging and blending and whatnot, just because it didn't take too long, but otherwise the video would just take forever. So I started with the picked raspberry, like I said, and then I did some carved pumpkin, and then I did squeezed lemonade, and then I moved my stencil down and did twisted citron, and then I did salty ocean and wilted violet, and that's where I started noticing it's like, okay, I need to add some more balloons, but I wanted to use some different colors. So I pulled in sponge sugar for that really light pink, and then I used the spiced marmalade for that orange on the top, and then I added some peacock feathers to the bottom corner, and then shaded lilac as my lightest purple there at the very bottom left corner, and then finally added some abandoned coral. I will have a picture on my blog of all the inks I used, just because I couldn't resist taking a picture too because it was so pretty. So once everything was done and I was done all that blending, I took this is the Happy Birthday to You Dynamics. Again, super fun. I think I'm going to end up saying super fun like 30 times. I apologize, but this was just so fun to make. So I taped it into place with some more Post-it tape so that it didn't shift when I ran it through my machine. So I got it, made sure it was lined up first, taped it into place, ran it through my Big Shot, and then it die cut all those, the Happy Birthday to You words all in one pass. And then I set aside the cutting plate with all those letters because I don't want to lose any of that. And I'm flipping this over, and I've just got a piece of acetate. I have transparencies on hand I use for shaker cards, or, you know, you can just use packaging, whatever works. And I just trimmed it down so that I could coat the back of these die cut letters with that transparency. I kind of thought about making just, you know, using some glitter cardstock or different things, but I'm on a shaker card kick, and I could not resist turning this into a shaker card. So I used my ETG adhesive and just went around the outside of all of the letters here so I could adhere the transparency. And then I grabbed those die cut letters again that I just left on the cutting plate because I want to adhere the centers. This step isn't necessary, but I thought it would just be fun to add that anyway since I had them all here. So all I did was I put the letter that had a center back into the die cut there, and then use that as my guide to adhere the little centers. And I just used some multimedia matte adhesive and made sure not to squeeze too much because I didn't want to ooze out the edges, because one, it would end up adhering the letter itself, and two, you would see it since this is on top of a transparency. So put each letter into place and then just use my tweezers to pick up the center piece and adhered that into place. And got that all done, and then once everything was adhered, I was able to peel up each letter, just being careful to hold those centers in place because it just takes a little bit of time to dry over that transparency. And you can just see I just held the center a little bit with my thumb and then peeled up the letter again with my tweezers, and that way all the centers are perfectly placed and I didn't have to sit there and try and eyeball it. So that's my little tip of the day anyway. So it didn't take too long to do that. So got that done, and then I'm going to create the actual shaker. So I showed this in a previous video. I don't know who to credit, whoever came up with this. Like, this is also why I'm doing so many shaker cards lately, because this saves you so much time. Doubled up the foam tape just folded it over onto itself, doubled up a good length of it. And then for this, I cut it in half because it's a narrow border around the die cut letters. I kind of did that on purpose because I wanted them in the lower area. So just cut that foam tape in half, and it's already doubled up. So all I have to do is apply it into place. So I created a shaker box just around the letters because I only want the shaker elements where the letters are. There's no point having the top area open. Let's just waste shaker stuff. So I created just the shaker little box or window right around those letters first, and then added more foam tape on the top area so that it's all, on the same level. It's not going to get smushed at all. So doubled up a little bit more of the foam tape to get that all into place. And then I'm going to create the actual shaker. So I used some Pretty Pink Posh Sparkling Clear Mix Sequins and some of their clear, where did I write that down? Sparkling clear seed beads. Just a few of those. That's what creates like a good shaker noise, but I didn't want to add a ton of those. And then some iridescent confetti stars. And didn't add a ton of them, just enough to do a good shake. And then I decided that I wanted to back those with black cardstock just to make the letters pop a little bit more. So just grabbed some cardstock and trimmed it down so that it would fill the window behind the letters there. And then peeled off all of the foam tape. And once that was peeled off, I can adhere the black cardstock. And then I'm going to add some ATG adhesive behind that. And then I'm going to set that aside so I can quickly get my actual card base together, which is just some MFT smooth white cardstock that I'd cut down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And I'm scoring it at 5 1/2 inches with my Teflon bone folder and my little score buddy. And then pressing that crease down really well with the Teflon bone folder. And then I'm going to adhere the stenciled and die cut shaker window to the card. And like I said in the beginning, it was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it's the full card front. So got that all adhered. And then to finish the inside of the card, I grabbed that stencil again and applied some more Post-it tape so I don't get ink where I don't want it. And then I just sponged some of that. Did I use Salty Ocean or, no, I think I used Peacock. Yeah, I used Peacock feathers. Sponge the peacock feathers over that just to add one more balloon to the inside of the card. And then the sentiment is from the new Celebrate with Cake stamp set. There's a little Make-A-Wish sentiment in that set that I thought would just work perfectly for this card. So I grabbed that, and it's a brand new stamp set. So when I'm using brand new stamps, I like to rub it against my hands a few times, rub it with my fingers, stamp it multiple times onto scrap cardstock, which is what I do here, just to make sure that it stamps cleanly and clearly. So inked it up a few times with MFT's Black Licorice Hybrid ink, and then stamped that onto the inside of the card, and then that finished my card. So you can hear the shaker elements when you shake the card up, which is always so much fun. So really, really fun. Make sure to check out my blog post. I'll have a link to all the supplies and all the pictures, and like I said, a picture of the distress inks. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping my videos and all the comments. I read them all and respond as necessary. And I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye.